Today's topic, all about RAM. We're answering those questions that you may have, that I had, about buying a new kit, specifically if you're a creator. Let's jump into it. Welcome back to another video. My name is Nikos. Today we are talking about RAM, not specifically this kit or this company, but in general the questions people do have when trying to purchase a new kit for a new build or to upgrade their build, or if they're looking at laptops and they're going, hey, do I need 32 gigabytes? Do I need 64 gigabytes? Clearly, this is for content creators. There are many videos out there and a lot of content for gamers. So I went on researching the questions I had, and I just struggled to find answers. As such, I decided, hey, maybe I should make a series of these videos. So this won't be the first or last. Leave a comment below on the questions you may have, and I will get to them. And of course, I will make more videos with stats so you can see with your own eyes what I'm experiencing. So maybe it'll help you with your purchasing decision. Now, again, for gamers, there's so many videos out there. You're looking for the fastest speed. You don't really need more than 16 gigabytes. So find the best rated for your system and go nuts. If you want to do a little bit more than just gaming, then go for the 32 gigabytes. That's what I would advise anyways, and go have fun. Now, for content creators, the questions really come down to, not really the company specific, but hey, I'm building a new rig, I'm buying a laptop. In the laptop land, I have an option for, 16 gigabytes, 32 gigabytes, 64, what is best? And clearly from this video, you'll see that you need to be going for at least 32 gigabytes, and 64 would be the ideal based on your budget. If you're building a rig like this, then the question would be 64 or 128 gigabytes. So we're talking about that aspect. We're also talking about the speed and, what is the opportunity there for you and your build, and what are you looking for with the software you're going to be using. And of course, we're looking at budgets and price points and all that, and maybe the step-by-step approach you can take in moving from 64 to 128 gigabytes. So we're starting off this kind of series just to answer these questions in a way where you can get your mind thinking in the right direction. Now, I went with the G.Skill 64 gigabyte kits. There's two of them. They do come in the recommended 128 gigabytes together. However, I saw that these were cheaper by $100, so I was like, a no-brainer. People do recommend to have all four designated by the company so that there's no issues. That being said, I test everything anyways. I did find one of them was not working properly, one of the sticks, so I sent it back to Newegg. They sent me a new set. I tested those. Everything's good. Everything's working. No complaints. Now, these are 3600. They are the CL18, 22, 22, 42, and they're 64 and 64 gigabytes, 4 sticks altogether, so 32 gigabytes per stick. Now, when you're looking at the idea of your upgrade or building a new computer, when you're looking at that laptop, you want to ask yourself, workflow. What is it that you really need? When we're looking at the idea of that question that you have 32 gigabytes in your laptop right now, and now you're going to be upgrading and or going to a laptop with 64 gigabytes, you start to question, hey, do I really need this? Is it going to make a difference? And when does it really make a difference? Well, it's when the resources are needed and when you can really utilize that massive amount of space for it to do its thing and not have to recycle as much. This is all we're looking at. So if you have Premiere Pro loading up, all that's going to happen is if you pull in a lot of data into there, it's going to fill up the RAM to what it needs, and then it's going to literally, on 128 gigabytes, start to effectively do its thing to start recycling when it realizes it doesn't need something again. Other than that, until you have other software taking over and needing more data, it's going to utilize that. When you shut everything down, you load it back up, it's going to be running around 20 to 30 gigabytes depending on what you're doing. When you get a heavier timeline, I've seen it go up to like 60, 70 gigabytes. The biggest I've had is running at 100 gigabytes, so pretty cool. That being said, when you're building a system like this, you want to ask yourself, what is the chip I'm getting? What's the video card? And is it worth it? Is there going to be a bottleneck? And this is what we're looking at with our workflow. How do you work? Now, when you have 32 gigabytes, that still has to process. The same thing will process, and all it's doing is when it hits this 20 gigabytes, 22 gigabytes, it will start recycling, and that is where the computer has to do its thing, and there's a bottleneck there. It's going to slow down. That's what we're going to experience, and this is where we see the timeline okay, extend itself when you're comparing it to 64 or 128 gigabytes. Where else do we see this? Well, it's when we're utilizing a lot of software. And for me, my workflow is to grab 300 gigabytes, throw it onto the disk, and then start to pull the video, throw it into Premiere Pro, throw all the pictures into Lightroom so they can load up and process in a library. And then when I'm done editing a video, I will actually send that off to get rendered, and then I will start up something else in Premiere Pro. So we're talking about full usage of like the full 128 gigabytes. Now, your system is going to be using that. I have like so many windows open at any one time with Chrome, and it is a hog, but I can get up to 12 to 13 to 15 gigabytes easy on that when I'm doing a big project, and or if I'm just doing something where I need to alter a website and do all this work with the creative side of stuff with businesses. So the idea then also becomes, well, what are your total needs if you have a workflow with that? Well, at 64 gigabytes or 128 gigabytes, will you see a difference? The answer is yes. You're going to see some difference, but it really has been negligible when I did my tests. I will be showing you data on there, stats on there. Is there a difference between the different softwares? Yes, and I will show you those. But you do overall on the idea of on a day-to-day on a heavy workload like this, you do see the difference if you're paying attention to it. Now, when I go from 64 and I try the 96, take out one of the stick of RAM and test that out, again, we see that incremental change, but it's negligible. All of this is negligible. And it is negligible because the idea here is that you are using the space and the system is doing its thing no matter what, and it's just being less taxing because it's got more space. Now, if I was looking at it and I was saying, what about speed? And this is the question that's going to come up. Well, whenever you look at speed, and you're looking at it in terms of what speed do I need, the idea here is people always want the fastest. When you're getting into the space of 64 and 128 gigabytes, you need to look at it in terms of budget as well. You need to look at it in terms of what are you actually doing. Do you really need to see that difference in speed? When I was looking at this, some people would be like, yeah, you need that. And then other people would be like, you don't need that. And then I was like, I might as well test this stuff. And I can actually change the clock speeds on everything and make it more efficient. So I can see, hey, can I take it to that speed that the other chips that are more expensive are advertising? And will that make a difference? And at the end of the day, when I did do that, especially with the Crucial Ballistic, it was much easier to fix up the times with those ones and make it faster with the clock speed of the 5900X, which, by the way, is a great chip. So excited about getting it. I'm super happy I did. And I'll make a video about that. So the idea becomes negligible changes. So we're talking not that much difference in the speeds, and that makes it more worthwhile to look at the budget and say, hey, I saved around $200 to $300 by going with these sticks instead of the more faster, expensive ones. Bottom line. Okay, that is what we got to look at. Is that change in speed worth it? And how does that really play out in the long-term effects of me being happy or being upset that I didn't go for the faster chips? And I'm here to tell you that after testing everything, it was negligible. Okay, that's it, negligible. And in fact, I have these sticks to do warm up. I had them testing. I booted up the clock so it can be even faster. They became stable. They're all good. And I had them at 3800. I just went back to 3600. Once in a while, I would see some instability and it would just shut down. And I was like, and we're talking like 5 days into it. So it wasn't like it was some little moment. And I was like, do I really care? Let me just try this out for 3-4 days and let me see if I notice anything. And I didn't. That's the reality. So that user experience, different. When I do the test and I run the test on it, negligible again. So that's my 2 cents on it. If you're looking at it in terms of space, think about it based on workflow. If you're looking at it in terms of speed, it's when you're using these big softwares and you're pulling in all this data, the idea here is that you're not gonna be so impressed that it's gonna change your life, and it's not worth the extra money, depending on where you're buying RAM from, what country you're in. It is and can get pricey. Again, for me, these stick of RAMs would be taking me up to $1,200 in Canada for going for the faster RAM, and it was like, no, let's not do that. Now, scrubbing, a good question on this, 64 to 128. Do you see a difference? And the answer is no. What you're gonna get with 64, you're gonna get with 128. Did I notice that with 32 gigabytes too? In most stuff, if I have everything shut down and it's just doing the 32 gigabytes of RAM, it works fine. You're getting similar scrubbage and no issues. Now, when you have all the regular software open, all your windows open, 64 is what you need there. 128 is just overkill, unless your timeline is really complicated and you have more and more softwares loading up. You might see that difference, but it's going to be negligible and you're not going to notice it, and you're just going to be like, well, why did I buy this? At the same time, if you are going from 16 to 32, you will see a difference, because again, the idea here is based on optimization of the software, and it seems that at 24 gigabytes is what we really see everything move smoothly for Premiere Pro. At the same time, people will ask, well, what about rendering? And with rendering, you don't really find that big of a difference unless you have a lot of software and the resources are demanding. It comes down to in both cases, it's the video card and your chip. Those two things are going to be the workhorse behind it. And what you'll notice is with like the AMD chip that I have, the 5900X, it's actually at 7% sometimes. And it's like, it doesn't need the things that are being done in the background with Premiere Pro is a single core, not multi-core. So you're not seeing it jump up to full speed. And at the same time, the video card is just taking off at 90%. So in this case, the video card is what you really want to be focused on. And I think that's where we're going with the future with these softwares. That being said, laptops. I'm looking to upgrade my laptop. I have a XPS 9570. I do have a video on upgrading the RAM in that. So I bought it with 16 gigabytes and then I upgraded to 32 gigabytes. I will leave that link below so you can see the idea of upgrading the Wi-Fi chip and then looking at how you would be upgrading the RAM, which means what? If I'm looking at my next laptop, I'm looking at it and saying, can I upgrade to 64 gigabytes? And then I'm going to purchase the laptop with like 16 gigabytes in it so I can save that money. On average, they will have at least double or triple the price for that RAM that you can buy from Newegg or wherever else you'd buy it from, okay? That's been my experience for every laptop up to this point. I've been able to upgrade everything, no problem. And when you're looking at it, do you need 64 gigabytes? In my opinion, yes, if you're a heavy end user or you just don't want to have any moments where you're hitting your head against the wall and going, why am I an idiot? I should have went with the 64 gigabytes. So at least buy that laptop if you're a content creator that's going to allow you to go to 64 gigabytes, bottom line. And the idea is that if you started with 16 or 32, that you would get to that 64. But I'll tell you right now, the experience is night and day when you go from 32 to 64, and then the law of diminishing returns takes over and you're there. So I will be making more videos on this. I wanted to answer these specific thought processes of these questions, because I know some people have been emailing me asking, hey, how much RAM should I be buying? And I know I had these questions. I couldn't find a straight answer. I will be showing you more data, more stats on this. If you have questions, comments, concerns, discrepancies, leave them down below in the comments. I will get to them. If you have any kind of ideas of testing anything that you want to test or certain aspects of it with the system, something like that, I will be doing more videos so I can include them in there. And of course, hit the like, hit the subscribe so you don't miss a thing, and share this with somebody who's thinking about buying a new system. So maybe it'll help them with making a better purchase in the long run.